Hi, so today we are with Mike O'Hagan, an outsourcing veteran and the owner of Mike's Business Tours. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hi, I'm Mike O'Hagan. Born a Kiwi but lived most of my life in Australia and recently about 8 or 9 years in the Philippines. I've got Mike's Business Tours. I show Western business owners how it works, how to use the low wages of the Philippines to the best of their advantage. Doesn't matter what sort of business you're in, how big or small you are, manufacturing, back office, anything at all. They come up, I show them around and teach them how to do it in the Philippines. Outsourcing is simply getting work done in another country, often a much cheaper country, with the technology, with the internet, with cloud-based software. We can now have workers in other countries doing work for us very easy. So outsourcing is simply getting that work done. It's changed. 25 years ago it was voice with call centres. Then it became the large corporate businesses doing back-end processing. Then it went home-based for a little while with home-based platforms coming through with the internet, and now it's trended away from home-based into office-based, where the smaller businesses are now coming in. Instead of doing the old traditional outsourcing, running set processes, they're now building their own team together in their own space. 1 worker, 2 worker, 10 workers, 100 workers, but they're all working focused on their business and multi-skilling within that team. With outsourcing, there's a number of ways you can cut it. First of all, probably is the level of management of your services. Let's take a simple one that everybody would understand. Most businesses outsource their accountancy work to an accountant. They don't know exactly what the processes are. They often don't know who the worker is. They just give the raw data to an accountancy service, and then they give them back the financial reports. Now that's fully managed outsourcing. That could be done in your own country or it could be done overseas. But that's fully managed. They're doing everything for you. Then it goes right through to where the worker could be sitting at a desk, staring at you on a computer through Skype or something, doing whatever you ask them to do, running your processes trained by you, where you're fully managing what they do. It varies right through. The workers can also be office-based or home-based. Now, home-based is cheaper, but in our experience, it's a lot less productive, and it gets a bit wobbly when you start building teams. Once you start getting teams of 5 and more, then it has some problems. So as a result, even though it's almost twice the price, office-based is now booming and growing as a better solution because it's much more productive. You can develop tacit knowledge within your team and grow your business that way. Well, to me, that is all outsourcing, actually. It's still getting somebody in another country to do work for you. To me, it's home-based versus office-based because they're still the same worker in the same country. Upworker and freelancer, of course, also cut out the cost of office and the cost of management. So therefore, it is a cheaper solution because that layer is missing. Office space is a competitor from the workers' point of view, though, because the workers in office space are getting health benefits and all the other benefits that come with long-term employment, where a home-based worker doesn't get those benefits. So there's a bit of a balance there. But basically, it's home-based versus office-based, which is Upwork and Freelancer and all the other online platforms. There's thousands of them out there, all providing their own thing. That's without going into the Fivers and the Design 99s, which are specialised little niche services. Of course, I have a solution for that. So if people want to learn more about outsourcing, I believe they should learn before they do. I live in the Philippines, have done for, I think, 8 or 9 years now. I regularly run tours here showing people, get Westerners coming to the Philippines. We visit 2 cities in the Philippines, and I take them round and I show them all the different types of solutions. I show them what's happening, what's working, what's not working, all the different types of things, skill sets you can do, and teach them how to do it before they start doing it. Now, living here, every week I'm rescuing Westerners who have started the wrong way in the wrong place, and I'm trying to avoid that problem which has been occurring quite regularly. So learn before you do is probably the best thing. A little trap that you should avoid, and it's reasonably common, it's very easy to start as a micro business and get somebody on an online platform like Upwork or Freelancer and build and add another one, then add another one, and suddenly your business takes off, and suddenly all of your IP is in the heads of home-based workers that are spread around the place, and that is a problem. That is a problem a trap that you can fall into very easy. But no, I think you should learn exactly how you're doing, understand where your business is going, and then set yourself up for the future. First of all is location. You've got to work out what is the best location for you to do it. My location of choice is the Philippines. Very simply, the Philippines for just on 120 years, English has been compulsory in the education system in the Philippines. It has a fully Americanized education system, third largest English-speaking country in the world. It happens to be devout Christian. That means it has the same core values as most Western countries. Means the public holidays kind of line up the same. Very sadly, it's saddled with a Spanish-type political system which has unfortunately given it poverty and corruption, the same as South America, Central America, the same issues. Therefore, it's got low wages, very, very low wages. Average wage in the Philippines is probably in the order of about $100 a week, which is, probably 90% less than Australia, 70% less than America. So it's got that good education. So location is the first thing. Which country you're going to go. Then a lot depends on where you think you may go. Sometimes you may need a specialised services giving you a special niche. It could be engineering or accountancy or something like that. Or it might be better if you were to develop your own team in your own space doing it your way. Or you might need an odd little project that you could put on a home-based platform. So there's all different platforms. You need to learn those and understand those. Then go through a robust process to make sure that you choose the right service or the right people. And when it comes to people, there's only one rule: test, test, test. You've got to test them to see how good they are. They all just get in and just test them, select the good ones, hire quickly, fire quickly. You'll go through a few. As soon as you find a really good worker, they hang in there. Then you've got to provide a great workplace for them, make it easy for them, connect with them, engage them. And that's, a lot of people break down there. They seem to treat them as if a long way away. They treat them differently. No, you need to engage them, understand their family. They're very family orientated, the Filipinos. You've got to be very much involved in that and work with them. And the more you work with them, the more productive they'll become. Look, I've been running these tours for 6 or 7 years. I've had 460 odd people on tour. The first revelation, and every single person on tour undergoes this, about halfway through the first day, they're totally amazed at how high a skill set they're doing here. Everybody assumes that it's low-level VA type stuff. That was like 10 years ago. It really was. It's not about the virtual assistants anymore. Our clients are hiring engineers to design buildings. They're hiring accountants to do CFO work and management accounting. We're hiring coders to build online platforms. It's just the range of things they're doing are amazing. In graphics, in video work, all those things are all being outsourced here to high-level quality people with very high skill sets at a fraction of the price you can get them at home. So the big move is towards a lot higher skill level. Outsourcing is now 25 years old. Outsourcing to SMEs is now about 10, 12 years old. 2007 all that started. It's changing, and these countries and their education systems are catching up to that very quickly. The workers in the Philippines have learnt that if they get these specific skill levels, they can get jobs, and well-paid jobs, because the industry here pays twice the local rate of pay in much better working conditions. So the skill level's the major revelation when they come on tour. That's the first one. Then the other one is the variety of types of places where they can source to, the fact that fully managed or self-managed, home-based and office-based, and how you work in that quadrangle, where you're going to fit. The idea that you could build a team that's like a branch office off your own team, not a remote. It's not about a remote, word remote's gone, it's now merging together. They're just part of your team working together, building tacit knowledge. And the other huge thing that comes out is a lot of them are based on the country they come from, and by building a Filipino team, they suddenly have access to the markets all around the world, so their business models change and they can expand their businesses and grow a lot more. One of the second revelations that comes when they come on tour is the sheer size of this industry. At the moment in the Philippines, there's about 1.4 million Filipinos currently working for Western businesses. About 75% of those are working for the USA, so they start at 10 o'clock at night and finish at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the rest are working day shifts. About 170,000 currently working for Australians. Now that's a guess. Nobody knows the exact number, but we've got enough information to be able to do a pretty good guess of how many there is. It's the sheer size of this and the growth. The growth has been sitting in the 20% now for several years. And so it's booming and it's growing. And when you look back at the Western world and look at how many workers are sitting in administration or sitting in offices facing a computer, every one of those jobs can be done in another country. And 90% lower in wages with an education system which arguably is actually better. That trend's going to continue and it's going to grow. But so this is a big industry and it's growing faster and faster. Back inside your own countries, it's all about competitive forces. You're sitting there running your business, your competitor up the road is suddenly the costs are going down. The costs are going up, and the margin's squeezing in on you. You're having trouble making profit. That's because your competitors are using cheaper countries for their back end processes for as much stuff as they can move over. That squeezes things down, and you're getting margin squeeze now. And the margin squeeze is pretty well coming from offshoring in most Western businesses that I've studied anyway. So you've got to go with the flow, otherwise you're going to get run over by cost. Look, it's now very, very easy to go online and hire somebody in a low-cost country, talk to them on Skype, one-on-one, show them what you want done. Use lots of software you can use to track things. We can put tracking software on to see how fast they're working and take screenshots. There's lots of those sort of things, but in my experience, you don't really need to do a lot of that because the workers are just ethically got a very high work ethic and want to keep their job and do a good job. It's as easy to hire somebody in another country now as it is to hire somebody in your own town. It's no different. The technology, the audio-visual stuff and the ability to communicate, send messages to each other instantly, it's just made that so much easier. And these things are all free. I think it's a very sad thing in our modern age that the media pick up on certain things and just repeatedly run it over and over and over and honestly give everybody a warped idea of what it's really like. I know that the typhoon thing here is run up. I've lived here. The typhoons are really nothing worse than a summer storm in Australia, to be honest with you. Yes, occasionally they get a big one, but it's a big country. Only a little part gets affected, and only affected for a day or so. The political situation, the drug thing and all that stuff, I live here, we don't see any of it. We honestly don't see it. The media keep telling us about it. We don't see it on the ground. I think it's a bit strange, that you'll get somebody somewhere in the world will bomb somebody and bomb something and drop, and it will injure 3 or 4 people, a dozen people, and then all the tourists all around the world won't go to that country because of that little incident. Well, there's probably 10 times as many people got killed in car accidents on the same day, and there's nothing said about it. So they're twisting it out of proportion. It really is. There's all different ways you can set yourself up, but let's just deal with where the mega trend is right now for small, medium businesses. Small, medium businesses are developing their own teams in these countries and growing those teams. There's thousands and thousands of them doing this everywhere. They use a service called seat leasing or co-managed space. In essence, there's 2 components. First of all, the Western business hire the desk and the chair and the computer connected to the internet with fundamental software in. You pay X number of dollars per month for that. The support services are in recruiting, helping you find the right person. So they'll go out and run the ads. They may do the first vetting and bring them down to a small list, and then you do the final interviews and you choose which person you want working for you. They also provide the legal employment entity. So legally, they're working for this Philippine company, although they're often badged with your name on it, your business, and think as if they're working your business. Just happen their pay packet has got a different name on the pay packet. Because they supply the legal entity, they also do the HR services as well. Most people don't realise that in the Philippines, the industrial relations laws are actually stricter than Australia and definitely stricter than America. They're very, very strict here. They are common sense. There's a simple set of laws, but it's important that you have to abide by those. So you need an HR manager in there doing that for you. So at the end of the day, the office space is taken care of, the equipment's taken care of, the recruitment is there helping you, HR's there if you get into trouble. You don't have to run the payroll, they run the payroll. It's your worker focused on you, doing it your way. You simply tell them what you want to do. One bill each month, 2 components, a component for the desk and the equipment, and then of course wages. And wages are the same as everywhere. There's wages and then there's on costs. In something like Australia, you would have work cover and superannuation, 401 or whatever you want to call it, all those things as well. Similar thing here, different names, different words. We also have health insurance and all those things. They're all standard on costs, as well as, of course, naturally holidays and public holidays and all those things. The support industry, depending on the level of management, so fully managed services like accountancy or engineering, that's easy to understand. They find workers, train them up to a certain thing, run set process for you. That's a given. Coming down to staff or leasing, depending on the model, or co-managed workspace, at the end of the day, they offer a lot of support right at the start to get you going, helping you with the right wages and the culture differences. But right as time goes on, 3, 4, 5, 6 years down the line, it petters off. There's need some support petters off. And at the end of the day, you really only need their real estate, their legal employment entity, and the ability to access equipment. They were the main things, and help you find the right people. There are people around saying that the offshoring industry is shrinking. The reality is it's moving from one model to another model. So if you look back 25 years ago, the very large international corporate companies went into these cheap countries and put in call centres. And then computers came along, so they moved back office processes to computerisation. Only the big companies could do that. And as a support, what I call corporate outsourcers, these mega companies, when they went into these countries, they didn't want to incorporate, so a third party in the country grew up to help them do that support. Now that's what the lion's share of the industry is made up there. That industry today is shrinking because their clients are now able to say, you know what, this is a long-term thing. If we leave this third-party provider and incorporate ourselves, we can do it cheaper. So that part of the industry drops down because the clients are bailing out and incorporating. At the same time, cloud-based computing, internet connectivity, has allowed the smaller businesses come into the market. Now, the smaller businesses worldwide employ a lot more people. And now they're getting access to this, but using a different model, doing a model where they're not running structured set process, doing a model where they can hire smart people who can think for themselves and work together in a team and developing those teams. So the SMEs entering the market is soaring. The corporates are moving from using a third party to incorporating themselves, and anybody looking at the big corporate end will see shrinkage. It's only that part that's shrinking, the rest of it is growing. So overall, the growth's huge. The other thing is the authorities don't measure it properly. They cannot, and to my knowledge, have got no idea how many are doing home-based. Now, home-based, you've got to be very careful because the largest provider has about 12 million workers working for it. So there's some significant numbers there. Now, of that 12 million, I'd suggest a fair share of them are actually in the Philippines. Right? So that's a big number, and nobody's measuring that. They have no idea, absolutely no, they can't see it, they can't measure it, they don't know those numbers.